Hi, good morning, and welcome back to the Kristin Omdahl Show. This is episode 988, and we are here live in Southwest Florida at the beach. If you are joining me live, please say hello. Let me know if you're crafting this morning. Let me know if you have questions for me, or just say hi. What day is it today? Happy Thursday, aka Friday Eve. I haven't said that in a while. Hi, Lisa and Furious Flow. Naomi, good morning. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Morning. Hi, Donna. Hi, Grace. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. I've got lots to show you today. I ended up bringing hats back today, as well as some other things. Hi, Sunshine, Lori, Judy, Marcia, Kat. Good morning, everybody. So glad you could be here. I really wanted to talk about the messy bun part of the hats this morning, so I brought the hats back, and I have a bag of goodies to share with you too. Hi, Judy and Kat, Helen, Val. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Kristin Omdahl Show. This is episode 988. We are 12 episodes away from 1,000. Isn't that wonderful and crazy at the same time? Hi, Jody. Happy Friday Eve to you as well. Glad you could be here. Yes, it does look kind of stormy here today. Hi, Melanie and Tina. Good morning. Hi, Chronic Illness Warriors. Donna, what can you make with So Airy yarn? So many amazing things you can make with So Airy yarn. It is super light, but has like a ropey kind of a texture. It is great for home deck, plant hangers, bags, sun hats, placemats, baskets, so many wonderful things. I've made several patterns with it, and you can search patterns by the yarn if you want, in knitting and in crochet. And you can also, what else was I going to say? I don't know, I was going to say something else about it. Hi, Geraldine. I've done quite a few patterns in it, and you can ask other people. Some other people might mention here as well. If you go to the Share a Project page on my website, you can see what other people have made with So Airy yarn. But like I said, it's fantastic for lightweight outdoor things, so making beach bags or market bags. It's waterproof. I've made outdoor plant hangers for it and indoor plant hangers for it. I've made really lovely sun hats in it. Hi, Thea. If anybody else wants to chime in with what you've made with So Airy yarn, I'm sure that will help Donna as well. And if you can't find how to filter the patterns by yarn type, you can definitely contact Judy or me for help finding links. Hi, Chris. No, it's not that cold here this morning. It's in the 60s, but it was in the 50s when I got up, so I'm a little chilly, and it is overcast. I don't think it's going to go any higher than what it is right now either. Hi, Mariana. Hi, Chris. I tried a new style of messy bun today, and unfortunately it fell out as I was trying to get my messy bun. Yes, I'm wearing a hot pink hat. That is correct. This is color Bubblegum in So Baby yarn. Okay, so what I did was I took my ponytail and I separated into two and tied a knot. So I tied it once, and then I tied it a second time. And then I took those ends and with bobby pins tucked the ends in underneath my actual ponytail. Now I'm trying to find that separate from the, there we go. And what's cool is that once I do this, and those of you that have fine hair will totally understand why I'm saying this is really exciting. Those of you with thick, full hair get to do this all the time. But those of us with fine hair don't always have great opportunities for zhuzhing. And so because I've tied it in a knot, I have 4 bumps now that I can pull on and massage out and create more volume. And with the ends tucked in, it allows me to have that wiggle room without breaking the bun or the knot. Now I'm doing it without looking, so, but can you kind of get an idea of what I'm doing? I did better in front of the mirror. With my head down, showing you in camera isn't doing me any favors. But anyway, that's how I did it. I think it's very cool, and I think that with a little practice I could really make an interesting and intricate looking knot, even with super fine hair like mine. I am wearing the Kendra hat, which is a broomstick style lace in the body and then a crocheted cable for the brim, and it has a hole in the top for a messy bun hole. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about messy bun hats again today, yesterday we started talking about them because I was talking about all of the hats from 24 Crochet Hats book, but then I forget how my hair was yesterday. Oh, my hair was down. So it was not, and I didn't have a ponytail with me, so it wasn't practical to talk about the messy bun hats. And so I wanted to bring it back, even though I have other stuff to show today as well. I thought it was important to talk about messy bun hats and to even go to the individual patterns that are for messy buns in here and tell you how you would convert it, like for real, if you didn't want the messy bun. So this hat is on page 52. So depending on how many stitches you need in that, okay, oh, this one's a bottom-up construction. So then that's even easier. So let's hat crown. This one even tells you, okay, so for example, this hat gives you the instructions for both messy bun and no messy bun. So whether you add the ponytail holder in there to give that stretchy hole opening or not, this hat gives you both in sets of instructions. So the other hat that I should bring out then is the one that I believe is a top-down construction messy bun hat. Let's see if I'm totally wrong. I thought this was going to be helpful today. Okay, so here's a one where I believe this one starts at the top. So let's look this hat up then. So this one, you get both sets of instructions. So I'm glad to tell you that anyway, even if I started with it. Even if I was going to start with a different approach to tell you why, it's still good. Okay, this one's on 75. Okay, this is the primrose hat. Hi, Doris. And so on this one, okay, this one tells you to start the hat by crocheting around the ponytail holder, just like you would start crocheting around a starting chain ring or a magic loop or whatever you like to use. And in that first round, you have 36, 40, 44, or 48 stitches. So here's where, let's see. Okay, so this one, I did give the instructions in this one too. Wow, so I'll just read them out loud to you, and then if you have questions, we can discuss it. Okay, note at the end of the pattern, if you prefer a hat without the messy bun hole, that is a simple modification. Start with a chain 5 ring and make a circular medallion that increases to the number of stitches of the first round of a messy bun hat and continue as instructed. So setup round 1 would have 9, and then in parentheses 10, 11, 12. Remember, these are sized patterns, so it gives you the 4 options. So not only does it tell you how to modify the pattern, it tells you how to modify it for all 4 sizes as well. So the first round would have 9, 10, 11, or 12 stitches. For rounds 2 and 3, you would increase each stitch around to create the desired number of stitches, being 36, 40, 44, or 48, which is exactly how many stitches you need for round 1 for the messy bun hat. So wow, I thought I was going to be giving these nuggets of information that weren't in the book this morning, and turns out I was ahead of the game. Which reminds me, I made a joke the other day, and even though it's kind of silly and kind of a joke, it's also kind of true. Oh gosh. Wow, I lost my train of thought. Never mind. I'll talk about that another day when it comes back to me. All right, does anybody have any questions about converting messy bun hats into regular hats? And then inversely, you could change any hat into a messy bun hat by crocheting your first round around a ponytail holder instead of a starting ring with any of the other hat patterns. So See how that's stretchy? That's because I have a ponytail holder instead of a ring for the starting round. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions about that? I'll wait and see if there's any questions. I mean, I don't even know if messy bun hats are still as trendy as they were in previous years, but for me, they're so practical. If you have long hair, hats are kind of a pain in the butt if you want to wear a ponytail or a bun, and so I think they're fabulous, and I love having the options. You know, whether they're super popular still or not, I think it's always a good tool to have in your arsenal, because what if you're making a hat for somebody that has long hair and always wears their hair up? Regardless of whether messy bun hats are in style, people that wear their hair like that are always going to want that functionality, I think. And I think long hair is always going to be in style for some segment of the population. Does anybody have any other questions about that? All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to move on. So I brought some goodies in my bag today. Naomi, yes, she wears messy bun hats when she does power walking. I love them anytime I wear my hair up, whether it's in a bun or in a ponytail. I just love messy bun hats. But if I wear my hair down like I did yesterday, then other types of hats are great too. And if you have short hair, then you definitely don't need messy bun hats. Hi, Natalie, good morning. Okay, so, Jody, it depends. One of these hats I mentioned starts at the top and one of them starts at the bottom. So depending on whether you start at the top or the bottom, you attach to the messy bun slightly differently, but ultimately you're just crocheting around the band the same exact way as you crochet around a chain 5 ring. You're just crocheting around the space, which is kind of cool because then it's using a tip that you already have. Jody, it depends on which kind of a hat you're making. You can do it either way. You can add the messy bun feature to a top-down or bottom-up construction. You could even add it to a side-to-side construction. When you're cinching at the top, you could definitely add it there too. You can do it to any hat. Oh, that's wonderful, Donna. You will love these bags. These bags are waterproof, really durable construction, and they have 2 expanding zipper sections here. So when you unzip the bag, I'm using it in the smallest size right now, which is still big. So the bag's 16 and a half inches wide, 18, let's see, it's 4 and 4, then it's 16 inches long, and then each time you unzip a compartment down there, you get an extra 4 inches. So I went from 16 to now 20 inches deep, and if I unzip this second expander, I go all the way to 24 inches deep. It is a massive bag, but at the same time, I do love the options of being able to close it up. Like today, I didn't need this much bag. That's why I left it in its smaller state, because even in its smallest state, it has 3 options here. Even in its smallest state, it's still a big bag. I mean, let me show you what I had inside there. I had the Blake sampler Afghan in there, plus a bunch of motifs, and it was still nowhere near full in its smallest state. Do we have time? I want to zip it. I want to zip up those compartments again so I can show you how much space was still in this bag with all that I had in it this morning. The color I'm showing this morning is dark orchid, but the bag comes in 6 really pretty colors. There's black, dark orchid, soft rose, silver mist, soft periwinkle, soft rose, and soft iris. Oh, it would be great for groceries, Anna. The only thing that I want to mention about groceries, and this is the case whether you use any type of recyclable bags. Oh, it'll be a great travel bag, yes. And I'll show you why. Since we're going to talk about the bag, I'll mention a few of the features again to show you why it's great for travel too. I'm just closing up those extensions. If you're using reusable bags for groceries, you must keep in mind that they need to be washed, okay? I've read way too many articles about people giving themselves foodborne diseases like salmonella poisoning and other things because they didn't wash their grocery bags. If you're going to put groceries in here, you must make sure that they stay clean. Having said that, reusable bags are amazing for grocery shopping, but I don't know if everybody remembers that, so I wanted to point that out. So as far as a travel bag goes, you have this trolley sleeve on the back so that you can slide it over the handle of a rolling suitcase, which is wonderful. And it also has a zipper pouch on it, so you have an outside pocket for putting your phone, your keys, or something else that you like easy access to. If you're traveling, it could be your passport or your documents or whatever. Then otherwise, that's the only pocket on the outside. It has these tabs, which also make the bag look a little smaller when it's in its smallest size here. And then inside, here's the inside, we have another waterproof pocket on this side, and then there are two sleeve pockets on this side. And then the bottom is flat and huge, and the bottom is padded as well, which is great if you're going to be putting your electronic devices in there. It's always good to have a little extra padding. I would still recommend a padded sleeve. I like to be really super careful with my electronic devices like tablets or laptops or whatever. So it does have a padded bottom, but I would still protect your devices in there. But it's nice to know that the bottom is padded. So inside, I was carrying this morning the Blake Sampler Afghan, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Yes, that is a great point, Judy. When you're traveling, it is very nice to have that pocket on the inside towards your body instead of on the outside. If you're standing in line somewhere, anything that you want to keep handy is much safer being inside on your body rather than on the outside. Especially, you know, when you put your bag behind you like that, you know, if there's a pickpocket or someone that's really good at that kind of stuff, you wouldn't even know if someone got into your bag. So having that outside pocket that's for your important things that you want to easy access to, like your phone, your keys, your documents, it's great to have it inside next to your body. Great point, Judy. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I put in here this morning. I put this Afghan in there, which is pretty good size. So think in terms of if you had a project going, if you were making an Afghan, you could absolutely use this as a project bag still. It doesn't even take up half the bag. Can you see that? There's still almost half a bag left after putting an Afghan in there. And oh, I had an extra hat in there this morning. And then I had all these motifs that I'm going to talk about this morning, which took up absolutely no space. But I thought it was still important to show you that even putting an Afghan in there really didn't take up much space. It really only took up half the space. It's a humongous bag with potential to be probably the biggest bag I own. I think it is the biggest bag I own. Once you extend those two 4-inch expandable sections, yeah, it's the biggest bag I own. If I was a little skinnier and a little more flexible, I could probably fit in there, but I'm not, so I digress. Anyway, does anybody have any questions about the bag? You can find the bag on my website. Comes in all 6 colors. All 6 colors are still available. I know some people had questions about it, so I wanted to mention them. Otherwise, I will move on and start talking about the things that I wanted to talk about with the Blake Afghan this morning. Hi, Dee. So I think I'm going to have to... So, you know how I'm making book 21 is going to be a stitch dictionary style book, and I've been working on stitch patterns that traditionally would be worked even in rows, and then showing you how to work them in rounds even, and then increase in rows to do like top-down triangle shaping or half hexagon shaping, and then how to work increase in the round to make 4-sided squares or 6-sided Afghans or whatever. While I was in the beginning stages of making that book, I was also exploring how to convert motifs into other things, which was super fun. However, I did have to pull those projects back from this particular volume of the book because I didn't think they really fit this particular volume. It might be something that I do for a future volume of the book, but deconstructing motifs was not fitting for a chapter. I had enough for this book, and that's one of the reasons why I know I need to do this book, this type of book, in volumes, not as a one-off, because there's so much to share, and it's so exciting. But anyway, I think there might end up being a whole volume on motifs that are deconstructed. So all right, so any of you that are not familiar with this pattern, let me talk about the pattern first, and then I'll talk about what I'm deconstructing with these other motifs. And I know a lot of you are going to just love this. I know a lot of you already love this afghan, but let me explain to you what's special about this afghan. First of all, it's a sampler afghan. This is made with 6 completely different motifs, and what I show in this afghan is an exploration of color and motif design in the sampler, because this is 12 squares. Each square is represented in a solid color and represented with mixing colors. And it's kind of, I mean, unless you were looking really closely, it is kind of hard to even recognize their sister motifs. So here's a sister motif here. Here's one of them in a solid color and then in multicolor. Let me find another one. Let's see. Okay, these two at the bottom here, these are sister motifs here. There's it in a solid color and there's it in multi. And we could go through and do that for all of them. Let's see, let me find another one. Okay, this purple one here, its sister motif is down here. But you get the point. It shows so much more variation than really exists here because of showing the motifs in one color and in multicolor. And if I've made this twice. I made this in only 2 colors at one point too, and I made that version to give to Jess as a housewarming present when she moved into her apartment. And when you look at those photos on my Share a Project page for the Blake afghan, you'll see that it looks totally different in 2 colors. And I did all 6 motifs in the 2 colors. So that was interesting, like a solid color of, each one was done in a solid color, but color A and color B, and still did all 6 motifs. And if you did it all in one color, it would be amazing as well, because you would get to focus more, you would focus completely on the stitches rather than the color work and the stitches. So depending on what you want to focus on, sky's the limit with this. What about if you picked only one motif and then did color work or no color work, or pick 2 of the 6, or 3 of the 6, or 4 of the 6? Like, you have unlimited possibilities within this one afghan pattern to make different looks, right? Okay, so to take it a step further in my exploration of all of this, and here's another interesting thing, these are done in Be So Easy yarn. These versions are done in Be So Baby yarn. Look at the size difference. Isn't that amazing? These are done on like an 8mm or 9mm crochet hook. This is done on a 4mm crochet hook. Look at the size difference. Isn't that amazing? Oh, thanks, Judy. Judy's showing you both the pattern and the gift version that I made for Jess of the Blake afghan, so you can see those comparisons. And you don't have to follow the links right now if you don't want to. All these links will be in the show notes and the video description when the show's over as well. Okay, so I remade each of these motifs in 2 colors, and I'll explain the colors in a minute. But that's not why I did this. I mean, and it's very interesting, I think, to see that size difference. So if you make an afghan, you could also make a shawl or a garment or a scarf or something. You're not limited to just using the weight yarn when you make something like this. Look at how different that looks. And I'll lay them, I'm gonna turn the camera down so you can see exactly what I've been doing with this, and I know you're gonna love it. I'm excited, I know you're gonna be excited too. Let me spread out the afghan. And then flip the camera down. See how much of this you can see. Oh, I can't see that well. Okay, so there. Okay, so I've got room here. Okay, so here's what I did. I converted all of these into half motifs or triangles. Okay, and I did all of them in one color. And I thought if I was going to do some, and you could do all of this in one color and it would be just amazing. But I wanted to gild the lily because that's what I do. And so I decided I was going to do some color exploration. I made all 6 motifs into half motifs for the top edge of a top-down triangular shawl. And then I picked colors from one of the color combinations that I show in, you know how I put all those color curated colors together for Be So Baby yarn? So I did salmon, and then I did watermelon, and then so I did the center of this motif in the color of the row above. Okay, so it went salmon and then watermelon. And then for the next row, I used that color for the center and then went on to the next color. So then that's watermelon and then sunshine yellow. Is this still on camera? I hope. And then for the next row, I did this color for the center, sunshine yellow, and then jade green. Are we still on? Oh, I'm in the shadow now. See, is it better if I sit down here? Maybe. And then I did jade green in the center for the next row with aquamarine for the outside. And then in this row, I did the aquamarine for the center and then peacock teal for the outside. So this whole row here, so there's 6 motifs wide along here. There'll be 5 along here. So I'll do all of them on this row in salmon on the inside, watermelon on the outside. Then there'll be 4 motifs on this row, and it'll be watermelon in the center and then sunshine yellow across. Then there'll be 3 motifs on this row of sunshine yellow in the middle and jade green. Then 2 motifs on this row with jade green in the center and aquamarine on the outside. And then 1 motif on the bottom here with aquamarine in the center and peacock teal. Unless I decide that this isn't big enough for a shawl, then I'll make a 7th motif for the half triangles up here. Then continue on and do 1 more in each row, and then do a final motif here in a solid color of peacock teal, since I did a solid color of salmon in the top row. So now I'm going to move the camera again to make sure. Let's see, let me flip the camera around. I want you to be able to see all of this, like exactly how I'm showing. See, can you see that now? Isn't that cool? I think it's going to be amazing. And then I may end up doing an edging, or it might just be a super simple edging, kind of like on the afghan, because there's so much going on there that it might be enough, or maybe even just some fringe, like a chain fringe. But so I think so one of the things that I want to continue exploring is not only converting square motifs into half triangles like that. I did this on the Majestic Skies shawl, if anybody ever made that one. And if you haven't made that one, I highly recommend working on that one. It's beautiful too, and that's where there are square motifs for the body of the triangular shawl. Then there are half motifs for the lower edge. So instead of working on diamond formation like this, depending on which way you put your motifs together, those half triangles would either smooth out your lines here or smooth out your lines here. This probably could be a class. That's because there's so much to say. And I'm trying to figure out where I'll share these half motifs. I might just add them to the existing Blake Sampler Afghan pattern and then talk about the fact that you could, and maybe show some schematics for, you know, adding them to the squares for, there's so much information that's required with this though that I almost feel like making a separate pattern and then talking about the squares and the triangles like I did with Majestic Skies. I don't know, I'm still working out the whole process in my head, but even talking about different ways to add color to it, different ways to you know, assort the motifs and the colors. I feel like this could be something we could talk about for hours, and anytime I think that it's something that I could talk about for hours, I think it might be good to add to the pile of classes to offer. And if you would like to share your feedback on this, is this something that you're even interested in at all? Is this something you'd like to see me explore with other motifs? The other thing that we can do with motifs, which, like I said, when I first started writing book 21, it was I was working on a lot of different ideas at once and had to narrow it down for a reasonable book size. I deconstructed a bunch of different motifs for my patterns and created motif fabrics from things that only had one motif, and converted squares into triangles. But one of the things that I was thinking that I would really like to do as well is to extract a even in row stitch pattern that can be repeated from a motif design. So that's a lot of complication as well, and that's why I think there might end up being a motif volume of these stitch reference books. And I haven't said the title of it yet, and I'm not ready to share the title, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to love the title of the book. And I can't take 100% credit for it because I'm pretty sure Judy and I were brainstorming together, and I think she actually came up with the actual title. I believe I came up with the subtitle, but regardless, it was a group process. And I have to say, that's happened a lot in my design process. Friends have helped me, and I've brainstormed with friends for many titles over the years, including the first Be So Fine yarn. I don't know if I've ever shared that story before. If I have, I haven't shared it in a while. So you guys probably know the crochet dude, Drew Omborski. He's a good friend of mine, and we've been friends for many, many years. And when I was first trying to come up with the name of my first yarn, which was Be So Fine, this was several years after one of my most popular books came out, which was Crochet So Fine. And we talked about maybe it was 100% bamboo fingering weight yarn, and he suggested calling it Bamboo So Fine. And I loved the idea because it was a fingering fine yarn, and it tied in with the book and all that good stuff. And then once I wanted to expand and bring out sporty and other yarns, and there's a story behind all of that too. The reason I was inspired by Spice Girls, but that's another story. We're almost out of time. We can save that for another day. So yeah, it was between brainstorming with Drew Omborski and then being inspired by the Spice Girls. So it was Be So Fine and then Be So Sporty, and then continued on from there. But such good times, fun memories, good times, and man, come a long way. Anyway, where was I going? The books. Yeah, I'm not going to share the title yet, but I will soon. I'm not towards the end of the editing process yet, so things definitely could still change. But as soon as I feel more solidified in the whole process, I will definitely share the book with you. Probably do pre-order with a discount code as well. And sooner than later, start offering the classes. Anyway, does anybody have any questions about anything I talked about today? Like I said, if you missed the live links that Judy shared, and thank you, Judy, so much for that, they will also be available in the show notes and the video description. Yeah, Lori, that would be super fun too. A book about my business experience would be wonderful. One of my dreams is to write a book, a business book one day about being a solopreneur and an entrepreneur and a creative, a digital creative person online. I think I've learned so much over the years, and yeah, that's definitely on my list of books to write. I know I've been asked to write like a true story, like memoir of my life too, and I don't think I'm ready to write that one yet, even though I'd like to. I just feel like I don't have the happy ending to write that book yet. And I don't know how to write something without knowing what the end is. So yeah, but as far as business advice, I definitely want to get into that, whether it's even starting with videos and downloads and stuff before I write an entire book. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Oh, I had lipstick on my teeth this whole time. That's nice. All right, well, if you did not get your questions answered today, or you decide you have a question later on today, always feel welcome to come back and leave your comments for me in the video. I get notified from that throughout the day. In fact, I think YouTube's the only social media that I keep notifications on. I think so. Yeah. Anyway, if you've left comments before, you know how quickly I reply to them. So always feel welcome to come back and ask if you come up with a question later on. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with me. I hope you enjoyed the sunrise, the beach, the sound of the waves, my demonstration, and my show and tell and sneak peek. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow for the next episode of The Kristin Omdahl Show. Bye, everybody.